Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever it happens to be for you. Here we are again, talking about all the problems that are going on at Tottenham. And today I'm joined by Marlon from Spurs Kings. How you doing, Marlon?
I am good. Thank you for the invite. I am glad to be here. Mia, it's been a while.
Yeah, man,
An
it's been a
absolute
long while. But we've got plenty to chat about in it, so...
Yeah, definitely.
Right, let's get going, eh? So, the first thing, Man U game. Was that all on Romero?
The problem you've got is that Romero's statement beforehand, saying we need players, we need this, you're leaving us hanging out to dry. So he went against the board, which every fan was happy with. And then if you look at the first half an hour of that game before he got sent off, the first 5 minutes we were a bit shaky, but then we started to get in the game and we looked like we were on a steady playing field for a little bit. And I think every Spurs fan, no matter if they want to admit this or not, actually thought at that time, we're playing okay. We're not, it's our backs are not up against the wall. And this is an informal Manchester United side. But unfortunately now, because of the sending off, it can't be now blamed at Frank's door with the tactics he went with, because he then has to go. And I think I saw people blaming him for the Odegaard substitution. And I got it. I was like, you know what? He had to take that player off. And he looked at the Manchester City game last week and he said, I can't leave that midfield vulnerable like I did last week. All right, so I got it. But he basically gave Thomas Frank a get out jail free card. And that was the problem. Because would we have won the game? I don't know. Would we have drawn the game? I don't know. Would we have lost? Most likely, if we're being honest, most likely.
Probably.
But the way the performance was and the way the 90 minutes went, I openly admitted, and I said this at the weekend, I wasn't unhappy with the way they all played and the way the game ended up in the game state. Because once Romero got sent off, I thought the Tottenham mentality would kick in and would absolutely collapse. Admittedly, I wasn't happy with the goal we conceded from the corner because I thought certain players just looked asleep. But it was so soon after Romero got sent off, so you can kind of give or take. But again, in the second half, we were in that game up until he made the subs. And then all of a sudden, Man United's quality shone through. But unfortunately, for this one, whether we would have won, like I said, whether we would have won, lost or drawn with 11, the game is always going to be overshadowed by Romero being Romero. And the problem that I've got with Romero is, and no one's really mentioned this, is I think he had a tackle earlier on where he went in quite hard. And he'd been booked, I think. He got booked. And you kind of knew from then what kind of day it was going to be for Romero. And it's so unfortunate because if Thomas Frank was a clever man, you kind of know when Romero's in this mood.
Yeah.
You kind of probably would have subbed him beforehand. And look, I get why people are saying the tackle should have probably not been a red card. I get it because he's got the ball first. But once he follows through like that and it's Romero, you got to give him the red card, unfortunately. The same, and I think a lot of people are saying, using examples of other incidences, and I always hate that. When you give other incidences where they haven't been sent off, that doesn't mean it's right. It just means that other incident is completely wrong. That's all you're highlighting. And that's why I'm like, you know what? If he'd have been saved, I'd have been more unhappy because the rule should have been applied and he deserved the red card. But the game is definitely on Romero this week.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think that he was silly. I think that in old school terms, that wouldn't have been a red, but nowadays that is. He did have the ball. He lost control of his body when he lost the ball because it went slightly in front of him and he obviously lunged to get the ball. And unfortunately, that's the way it is now. Like, that is the game. And you are right.
Yeah. So the thing is, the worst thing is, on that challenge, like you just said, where he lost the ball, he lost control of the ball and he lunges. Now, when we say old school football, we're talking about before the Premier League. I think that's a sending off in 92, 93 as well. That's how bad the challenge was. Because everyone uses the Roy Keane and Haaland situation where both of them didn't really get booked. But I think most of the time he would have probably got a second yellow card. So
he was off
no matter what.
You are right. He would have probably got a yellow, then that would have been his second yellow. So you're right. He got a yellow, which was really stupid of him. Like you say, he was in a reckless state of mind. Yeah, for sure. Like I love Romero, but for other reasons. But Obviously, I know that he was being reckless, and that was really stupid of him. He put at risk the game, and we don't know what the outcome would have been, 11 versus 11. And of course, that is on him as the captain as well.
Yeah. So the question is that everyone's been asking, because a lot of people have given up on Romero. Where are you at with Romero?
I think that for me, he's lost his head, and I think that he doesn't want to be here. I think that he is really unhappy at Tottenham, and if that's the case, then he should go. I've always said this, Marlon, no matter who it was, if they don't want to be at Tottenham and their head's not in it, then I don't want them at the club, despite the fact that I like to look at him and admire him, especially in those suits, Maya, when he wears the black shirt as well. Don't get me started. But he's if he's lost his head and he ain't happy, I think that something needs to be done more. And I think that that's the next comment. That's the next thing I'm going to speak about is Frank's comments about him.
Yeah.
I just don't know if the club are pulling him aside. I don't like player power. I've never liked player power. Even when it came to Harry Kane, I said the exact same thing. I keep the same energy. So for me, if he's trying to wield player power, for me, that's not acceptable. Like, it's not acceptable, man. It's never acceptable.
No, fair play. No, the fair play. And the thing is, with I think where his comments have come out this week as well, somehow, somewhere, I believe this is I think these comments are actually coming from the manager. The manager's encouraging him to do this. And I used to say this about Danny Rose under Poch. There were certain aspects, because Danny Rose was known as Poch's son at training. I believe that's what he was known as. So when he came out of those comments about signings and stuff, it was just weird that suddenly it was Danny Rose coming out with it, of all people. And I know social media weren't as big as it was now. But at the time, I always go, where are these comments actually coming from? Because the fact that players are liking it as well, is this the staff, the first team staff and the players actually huddling together? And actually, Romero is probably the only one, because he's done it once before and he's done it again, which makes me think that Frank is fully aware of this, and his captain is the one that can do it. And Thomas Frank, if he comes out with it, loses his job. Yeah. The captain comes out with it, you can't sell him.
That's a really interesting. I've never really thought about it like that. And you're right, because if someone's like a bit like puppeteering, because you know that you're going to get into trouble, so you get someone else to kind of say it for you. You put that thought in their head to say it, and then they can, because they're a hot-headed, passionate person, they're going to say it and not give a damn. I think that I don't care. Yeah, man, I never really thought about it like that, because we'll get on to the next thing then is Frank's comments are not helping. Because obviously he keeps coming out with these comments, not just about Romero, but other things. And I think that he doesn't make things easy for himself, because he's saying we're getting better, we played well and we haven't played well. He's very much like for the other team, saying how wonderful they are. And then obviously saying that Romero's been dealt with in the background, like we're like, by doing what? Because we're like, hold on a second. Is it being dealt with? Because we've had the issue with Spence and Mickey walking past him as well, disrespecting him. Nothing really happened with that. So is Frank not really helping himself with what he actually says?
It's a tough one. It's a real tough one, because when I look at it, I think the club have kind of hung Frank out to dry a little bit. And even with the PR stuff as well, you kind of look at it and go, he's just saying things now because he has to. Which game was it? And I said he probably should have been relieved of his duties, because he was just, I think it might have been after Bournemouth, where he was just saying anything. He was literally just saying words, especially after the whole Arsenal Cup gate. He was set up. I don't care what anyone says. He was set up. Someone knew, and they knew that he'd be drinking from it and whatnot. And apparently there's some, I've heard that Bournemouth and Brentford don't see eye to eye. There's some things going back. So I want, how is it that this Arsenal Cup was left over from 3 days? I'm sorry, they would have cleaned out that changing room. Someone has set him up. But when it comes to his other comments and stuff, it's the problem is, I think he's found it a bit intimidating. And what I mean by that is, I've been told when he was at Brentford, he probably have about 10, 12, 11 journalists. At Tottenham at the beginning, it went from 10, 20 to 50.
Yeah, of
And
course.
then the magnitude really comes out because, again, like we said, he's never been at a club of this size. And sometimes it's daunting. When he says about us playing well, or playing better, we're better. We probably are better than when we were in November or October. Like after that Arsenal game and Chelsea game, we were looking at it going, what the hell is this? Everyone was talking about XG, and I hate XG. But even I was using it against him, and I hate it. So even I know it was a problem. But if I look at it now, at least we're playing in halves now more than we were beforehand. And I think that's the difference. When he's saying we're playing better, we're actually, you've set the bar so low that better is probably where if our worst point should have been. And that's where we like, this should be our worst point, not our, actually, this is probably our best part we've had all season. Because even at the beginning of the season, at home we were terrible. I think we've won 2 games at home all season in the Premier League. Premier League, we've won 2 games at home, and I think we've won 4 or 5 away. It's because he has set us up better away from home, and that's always going to come through. But yeah, it's an interesting one because half the time, I have to be honest, I don't even listen to his comments. I was the same with Ange at the end, but Ange had a bit more charisma about him and a bit more personality. And I think the problem that Thomas Frank's got is he doesn't have the personality, so that's going up against him straight away. The journalists don't really like him. If I'm being honest, they're not. He doesn't really give them a story. The first story that they got from him, which was like, "Oh my god, this is a story," was the Arsenal Cup.
Yeah,
apart from that, he's bland, isn't he? That's it. Yeah, he's bland.
I think maybe though that's actually probably favours him somewhat because Ange could be explosive and say comments, and I don't like the journalists, because they always try and get a clickbait out of somebody, and I don't like that. I don't trust them. I don't like them. So when they did come up against Ange and say things, I'll be like, no, I'm not defending Ange fully, but you've got to understand, man, what they're trying to do is being sly. And
Ange was a headline.
Yeah, and like obviously Frank's the opposite because he's just so bland, but in a way that kind of works in his favour for us in the way that we're not getting headlines from him, but it's also he doesn't really give you a lot, so it's really hard with Frank to sort of.
And this is the thing we've got, and I think if we went back, I think because we've had Conte, Jose in between that as well, and Ange, all 3 of those gave us what we wanted. They literally fielded on the press and the press conferences, but actually people might not see it at the moment because it's been so long, but Poch was the same as Thomas Frank. He was actually quite bland. It wasn't until we got to the Champions League final and he was coming out with all these sayings, you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Poch? Like, even I don't even understand you anymore. But I think they're in the same mold in that way when it comes to press conferences, but Poch was just better at dealing with it because we were playing well. And when I say we were playing well, before, this was like because we had 2 years of us actually being very successful on the pitch. And when I mean successful, we were a better football team. We were the underdogs. And Poch was a likable bloke, where I think Thomas Frank's a likable bloke, but the football's crap. So he hasn't got there yet. Whether he will get there, I probably don't think so. But for the time being, I think Frank, at the moment, like you said, it is helping him that he is bland. And he's not giving us anything. But at the same time, because we're losing, I think a lot of us fans want to hear you say, what the hell's going on? How are you going to fix this? And we're just not hearing that because every time, like, I think they've even stopped most of them putting on their social media, and even Spurs have stopped tweeting and saying, but back at training and stuff, like, we're going to do better next time because it's never better.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think that, like you say, that's a really good point, is that if you're playing well, you can afford to be bland and not so much in the press conferences. But because he's not, and he's not really speaking up about it, it just, it doesn't really work well for him. Yeah. He could be a little bit, not as much as like a Conte and a Jose and an Ange perhaps, but just give us a little bit more and say to us, well, actually, I'm not happy with this part of the performance, but he doesn't. And I think that's where people sort of get at him a little bit because I think right now he does have to be careful, especially right now. A couple months ago, he could have gone at them because he had players available. Where now,
I think he
Yeah.
has to kind of protect the players. And I think Ange kind of did the same when he was down to the bare
Yeah.
11. He actually started to protect the players because actually they're the ones who are going to go running out for him. So actually when it comes to the press, and I get it, he has to kind of be like, look, I can't really throw these players under a bus just yet because I don't have other players available to me to kind of go, that player, to sit him out for 2 or 3 games. It just doesn't work like that, especially at the moment.
I guess that what he could say is it's on me. He could try and say, listen, I should have set us up better. Or like he could have said that maybe I didn't do enough. Like he could take the responsibility on himself a little bit more. And because the thing is, the problem we've got is that the players keep getting booed and they're going to get affronted with the people that are booing, which is the fans, and they're going to get peed off about it. And then so it kind of be like, right, so he's saying one thing and he's trying to protect the players, but the players are still getting booed and the players are going to get like, hold on a minute, man. What are you doing? Like you're letting us to get booed and taking all the blame, yet you're not shouldering any of the blame. And that's where like players kind of can get a bit like not very happy.
Yeah, because I think I think the only game that like he was taking, I think what was happening though, because I think after the North London derby, he did take that upon himself and said this was my fault. And the problem is that we played crap every game after that, and I think it was kind of like if I keep blaming myself, I can't really. He's going to be stuck in a corner.
Get it. I do get it.
I think that's why he's kind of deflecting everything at the moment because there's so many fires to put out with everything, and I think with the club and him at the moment, he's the only person speaking out. He's the front man, and that's always going to be the problem with the managers at this football club. Because when it's all going wrong behind the scenes, the only person that anyone ever gets to speak to is the manager. And then we've got this manager that doesn't really know the club at the moment. He's been here, 6 months, 7 months, and he's come from a club that was well organised, from what it sounds like, to a club that's supposed to be big but are in chaos.
Yeah, no, I get that. I do get it. Like I don't bag on him too much for it because, like I say, you kind of understand he's between like a bit of a rock and a hard place at times. But I, like you, I don't really listen to the press conferences because unless I want to go to sleep, unless I'm having some insomnia, then I'll listen to them because obviously it'll help my sleeping.
Because the worst thing is, I feel like I'm protecting him more now than I was at the beginning. Because when he first started, I didn't want him. I was like, this is not the man I want to. I didn't believe in what everyone was telling me. I didn't believe he was this tactician that everyone was talking about. The fact that Ange beat him twice last year, I was like, come on. He should. The first time I could get away because I think we were in form a little bit. The second time, we'd won like none in how long. And Ange went there and schooled him again. And I was like, this is not the man that should be coming to this football club. But everyone else kind of batted for him. But now that he's here I feel like especially the last couple of months, after the North London derby, I was like, done. But I feel like I've had to protect him in the last month or so because so many Spurs fans have gone so hard against him, but they're not looking at the bigger picture. And it's kind of, yes, I get he's a bad manager, but if you pick him up and throw him out, at this present moment, I don't think the club could actually pick someone else up and put him in. Because, and this goes back to the Man United game, we don't have a Darren Fletcher. We don't have a Michael Carrick. This is the problem. And again, this goes back to what we've built over the last 25 years and the relationships we've built. Like, who we're going to really realistically go back to for an interim basis is Ryan Mason. He just got sacked by West Brom. Like Jermaine Defoe, I know a lot of people talk about him, but at the present moment, until we see him actually being a manager, probably at some point, even if it's in reserve, he's unknown. Yeah, you can take the risk. If it doesn't work out, your legacy's tarnished.
Yeah, will he want to take that risk?
I think he would. With Jermaine Defoe, I reckon Jermaine Defoe would. I think he's even hinted that he wants to. I think the club have kind of gone, they don't think he's ready.
Yeah.
And I think Ledley King is ready, but he doesn't want it because he's not a speaker.
No.
I think he's given, I think he was asked a few times before and he said, no, that's why it's always gone to Ryan Mason.
Yeah. I would love Ledley. It's a shame, man, that he don't want to do it, that he's not really like that kind of person, but I think he would be the perfect person because I think he's got a lot about him.
Yeah.
If you like.
And he was a captain as well, which I kind of never like when he's maybe he just doesn't want to take them out. Like maybe he's happy with what he's doing, and that's why he doesn't want to do Spurs on an interim basis. Yeah. But again, it's a case of like Robbie Keane probably would have been perfect at the time. But then I saw Bench Forest against Nottingham Forest. You're like, if you're losing to Sean Dyche, and I know we did, but I'm kind of like, come on.
No. Yeah, no, I get that. So are you Frank in or Frank out for now? Or Frank don't care. Frank don't care as well. It's like Frank and not bothered.
Look, I've never been a Frank. I've never been Thomas Frank's biggest fan. I thought the job he did at Brentford was good, but for what I wanted in a manager, he wasn't the one. Whether I think half of this is down to him, I do. I think half the problems right now are down to him, but at the same time, I think he's actually doing okay in a situation that I feel like we're in. The injuries have not helped. And if I'm willing to give Andrew Blythe for the injuries, I'm going to give Thomas Frank a Blythe for the injuries as well. I'm going to keep it exactly the same as I did before. The thing that I probably have liked about Thomas Frank in the last couple of weeks, maybe it's because it's been forced upon him. He has changed it more than I was seeing at the beginning of the season. I like the fact he can go from a 3 to a 4. That fluidity is probably what we needed. The fact he's not giving players chances like Tell and Dragusin, I thought was a bit like, come on, they deserve a bit more of a chance in certain places because, like Romero van der Ven, not Romero van der Ven, but like with Tell, Odegaard is on the right now. Since Kudus is gone, he's on the right. Mwani's not been doing it on the left, on the right, up top, and Solanke's just come back, and I just thought, yes, Tell has a reputation with us Spurs fans because he didn't hit the heights running last year, but actually his performances this year under Frank have been actually very decent.
Yeah, I like Tell as well, man. I think that when he comes on, he always gives. He really does try, and he does look good. And I think that I feel like as well with Tell, he does well. He'll score a goal, and then he'll get dropped. And I think that doesn't help with his attitude towards things because
he has a positive attitude as well. That's the thing I like about him. He has a really positive attitude.
He actually watched the women against Chelsea. When they played yesterday, he went to the game. He actually went to the game, man. Like
he's becoming a Spurs, isn't he?
Yeah, he's becoming fully coy. It's like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I like it. I like that attitude, though, man. He fully immerses himself. I feel like he's a kind of boy that he fully immerses himself in where he's at, and I think that's a really good attitude to have, man. I like that attitude. So I just don't know what's going on with him, with Frank. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But getting back to your original question, I am Frank out, but I'm not going to be like upset if he hasn't left this weekend, next weekend. I kind of see it as he will go at the end of the season. I think that's guaranteed. He will go at the end of the season. But I think he's the third best well-paid manager in the league, which doesn't help.
Yeah, he is.
So again, you put in. Look, everyone talks about Vinay going, he's doing an Arteta with him. But everyone forgets that Unai Emery was the manager first for Vinay.
Yeah, that's true. And he got rid of him.
And they got rid of him. So there is sometimes. But I think what now with Frank, there's no coming back from this. I think the only thing he can do to come back from this, which is highly unrealistic in the world that we're in, and that's win the Champions League.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say that.
But that's it. That's all he's got because the fans have turned against him. His home form's 2 games this season at home. He's won, which is Burnley and Brentford. And one of them, I don't even count because he knew Brentford inside out.
Yeah.
And you kind of look at it going, where the hell's the next win coming from?
Yeah, no, it's true. I don't even know.
So, but he might win the North London derby. Like that might be the next best thing. But even now, I'm not putting it like it will.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Me neither.
Yeah,
I think for me, I want Frank. I don't think Frank's good enough, so therefore I want him gone. But I've accepted that he's going to be staying for now. If I see him improve and us to do better, then I'll be like, okay, cool. You've shown me something. Like, show me more. I want to see more of that. Like, so I'm open-minded, if you like, to if we do get players back and he improves, etc. Like, I kind of get the injury things. Like you, I gave Ange a bit of a like, well, he's got injury, so I can't can't be too harsh on Frank for that. So I think I'm quite an open-minded person, and I'm willing to have my mind changed. It ain't me flip-flopping. It's just that I've always been quite an open-minded person in that way. So
flip-flopping is just a YouTube thing. Always, what I say to people, your opinion's allowed to change depending on the information that you are now given, and new information always gives you
a new perspective.
It's like a relationship, really. Like, there's a girl you meet, you don't know anything about her, right? But you don't like her at first. But actually, after time and getting to know her, you're like, actually, I quite like you.
I quite like you. Yeah.
On the surface, you're like, no, you're quite hard. But actually, when I got to know you, and
or
change.
It could be even the other way. You can say, "Oh, I liked you," and then they show you something, and you're like, "Nah, I don't like that. I don't like that attitude towards something, or that that's not good."
And with football, I always say this: your opinion is allowed to change. Don't stick to, because
of course,
what always ends up happening in football, things will move on and things will change. And like Matisse Tell is a prime example who we were talking about. He didn't start off very well, but now look at him, his attitude and everything. He is showing us stuff that a lot of people are going, okay, I know he missed a penalty in Udine when in the Super Cup, and it was like, oh my God, that was the last straw. But actually, he has shown us since he can come back from this. And this is what players do, because they start off. Harry Kane will probably be the prime example for me. And I've always said this. When Harry Kane first came in the team, I was like, who is this boy? I was like, I can't remember the player, Van der Vaart with Harry Kane. I was literally like, this boy can't control. He can't do this. He can't do it. He's now one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah, man, it happens a lot.
And
it happens a lot. If you think about it, not only have we had that, really, if you think about who was Sonny wasn't, obviously, he had his times at the beginning. We had Bale. We didn't win a game with Bale for however many games. Like, it was loads of games every time Bale played, man. We didn't win.
The problem with Bale, and I always say this, the problem with Bale, I think a lot, and I remember a lot of Spurs fans at the time were like, he's a bloody good player, but why can't we win with this guy in our team? Because I remember he came on I remember going to the game, it was Everton away, and we were winning 2-0, and Suakotto got injured. I can't remember, I think it was a Suakotto, and Harry Redknapp was kind of like, this is the time to bring on. We're 2-0 up against Everton. Everton are a team that we generally don't lose to. And he came on and was like, yes, finally going to get this win. But Seamus Coleman came on for his debut and literally tore us apart in the second half. And it was his side, and we drew 2-2.
Yeah, man.
And it was just like, is this guy ever going to get a break? And it was really weird. Because he was one.
That was weird.
It was weird with him, because I think he scored the free kick against Arsenal. And a lot of people said he's got talent, but why can't? It's because he weren't a left back.
Yeah, that's it. That was a problem, man, 100%. But anyway, by the by, it's still like what I'm saying, that I think flexibility of thought is something in football that people are like trying not, like they go, right, otherwise you're a flip flop. Like you say, it's a very YouTubey thing. But actually, in life, none of us are rigid with our thoughts. Actually, it's interesting to listen to people you don't agree with, to understand their point of view, and then you might understand it and then change your opinion slightly because of that. So I think it's always important to keep an open mind with stuff. And I'm quite, like I say, I'm quite an open-minded person. So I'm never rigid. If I'm wrong and I say I've changed my mind because I was wrong about that, cool. Like, that's fine by me. A lot of people on Odebert's case, and now they're like, oh, actually, Odebert's actually quite a good player when he plays on the right. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like,
I'm the same with Odegaard. I was like, he hasn't got a final ball, he hasn't got this. For me, I didn't see that actually, because he was never going to play on the right with Kudos. Every other position, he was terrible. But as soon as he got onto the right, he's looked more comfortable. He looks like he wants to go out players. He's got a very Aaron Lennon thing about him.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, and that's why I say you're allowed to change your mind on any player. And like, for me, Conor Gallagher 2 years ago, didn't want him. And even when Ange wanted it, didn't want him, didn't feel like he was the player for us. But I got to a point when we got to this January transfer window, and I went, bloody hell, we need him. And I've seen enough of him to go, but I knew enough of him to go, this is what we need now. And that's why I was willing to accept the transfer. And I know a lot of people went crazy about Conor Gallagher, going, why are we signing him? He's not this, he's not that. The problem is that when you look at what we've got, and if Thomas Frank ain't going, Conor Gallagher is needed right now. And if it is a new manager in the summer, and it is a certain person that people want back.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. Well, he loved him, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's like needs a must, basically. Needs a must sometimes in what footballers we get in. If we need them at the moment, then cool. Like, that's what it is. So let's move on to the next thing, which is what can solve a problem, the problems at Spurs. It's a bit like the song, How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria, which is my name, and which I always used to get thinking, like everyone used to say it to me when I was a kid. I don't really know how you solve a problem like me, but how can we solve the problem like Tottenham at Tottenham?
It's a long-term problem. It's a 25-year problem. Look, the best thing that happened to me this year, and I said this, I was always going to keep a smile on my face because I was so happy Levy had gone. I was truly happy. But the problem I think everyone else has got with it, okay, he would have sacked Thomas Frank by now. That I will guarantee he would have sacked Thomas Frank by now, and he would have had context to bring in a new manager and taken that risk. The only issue I have with all that is most of this is his mess. And I think there's so many problems at Spurs that the Enoch kids, that's what I want to call them, the Enoch kids, even though they're not young, the Enoch older guys, none of them know how to run a £1 billion company. And you can see that. And they've tried to bring certain people in. Because I was on a podcast recently and they said, we need football people in. You don't need football people in. You need people that can manage £1 billion pounds business. Because I'm so used to streaming with Americans now. £1 billion business and able to run that club successfully on and off. Because if I look at someone like Manchester City when they came in, yes, they've got the money, but how many of them knew about football? None of them. Newcastle, okay, Newcastle the same. How many of them know about football? Yeah, hardly any of them. But when you look at their transfers since they've come in, Newcastle's success rate on transfers is a massive hit. That's one thing they're good at since they've come in. Liverpool owners have had their ups and downs. Again, how many of them knew about football? So you don't generally need football people in. You need people that are able to demand and command a business in a certain way. And the problem that we've got with the Enoch kids, it wasn't any of them. They can work and be an employee, but it was their dad that earned £1 billion, not them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, are they able to make this business be successful? And I think that's where the problem lies with them at the moment, is that none of them have a clue. Are they willing to learn? Is a separate question.
Yeah.
But have Tottenham fans got the patience? We don't, unfortunately. And the problem that I've got with it is you had your shield, you got rid of him in September. Now we're all looking at you. And the problem that Lange has got, again, no personality. However, with Lange, I know everybody wants him out, but the players that he's brought in, everybody kind of likes. And I don't think people, like the younger players, this is not the like most people like, and I'm like, maybe this is why they're trying to keep him in the youth part, because they know, like Villa did, he's not good at buying established players, and that's right now when the right now players he's not good at. Vinay, for me, after his statement just before that protest, your words mean nothing to me anymore. Every single statement you've come out with, you've not backed it up, and he's not dealing with Arsenal fans anymore. He's dealing with Tottenham fans. Slightly different clientele, Vinay.
Yeah.
And that transfer window now, you're fucked up. That statement, you'll never live that down now, because you said this, you said that, and not anything in that statement became true. And then Lange coming out recently saying, we're going to look towards the summer transfer window. Well, you said that in the summer transfer window, we're going to look at January. Come to January, you're going to look at some. No, you need to start doing things now, because at this present moment, and I said this earlier, if you get to the summer transfer window, we might be in the Championship. That's me, sorry. But this is why sometimes you've got to do now. And I think the way Tottenham can solve this is they even get a manager that can be progressive, that doesn't need much backing to get them over the line until they get to learn who they need to back, or there needs to be an overhaul with the club and it needs to be sold.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that what's happened is Nepo babies have come in and they've got no clue. They're trusting, obviously, people. They've employed people that they feel like they can trust, and they don't seem to have a clue neither. They're all number twos. None of them have got like that thing about them to be number ones and make those big decisions, which are always difficult to do. And the fact is that we've gone from someone who is a control freak to having no control because we've got too many people who don't know how to control anything. So
yeah,
it's sort of,
and you can see that that's spilling over onto the pitch.
yeah,
And it's
100%.
literally we go back to Romero and Frank's, like, the comments and stuff. You can clearly see that they're saying within that there's a problem.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
that's what they're letting us know. There is a problem, and we're just letting you know there's chaos behind the scenes.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that it like you say, it's just so evident with everything that's going on at Tottenham that it's a huge mess, and you need people who are going to be in charge and put their foot down and say, this is that. Like get everyone together and decide on where we're going and a plan and make decisions instead of just dawdling and trying to be like all matey, we don't want to upset anybody. Like, it's
They're
just
trying to be so opposite to Levy that it's doing them not the world of good. And with Levy's faults, there are positives to him as well. And the thing is, Levy was good at everything apart from when he got involved in transfers. And people always go, what do you mean by that? Every single person that's ever come out of Spurs have always said, they used to bring people to the table, but Daniel did the last bit, and that was a negotiating. That was his bread and butter. Whether Spurs got the player or not was down to him. And the problem that Daniel Levy sometimes had, he had to win.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem when you come into a transfer window sometimes. Sometimes not about winning. It's about it's about the importance of the first team and getting that player over the line. And that's why I think at the moment, that's why we've sometimes been held back. And I was thinking about this the other day. I think the reason why Tottenham are in such a mess is because we spent a year without buying a player. And the reason why, and that's finally starting to come up, because we're always chasing ourselves since that moment. Instead of actually pinpointing and building on top of what we had, we've been chasing our tails ever since. And if you look at most of the transfers, like even Conte, when he came in and got us fourth, it was luck. More than anything, it was luck and how good of a manager he is. But as soon as the second season came over, because the rebuild and the appointments had to be so on point, that our transfer windows have never been as great as the one with when I think it was Alderweireld came in, Trippier, I can't remember who the other signing was, and they were early. They were through the door and they were early, and Poch was able to build on what he did. And then we went to Wembley, and I know Levy did offer Poch players. I am fully aware he offered him players, but Poch didn't want the average run-of-the-mill players. I know at the time it was Tielemans. Tielemans was one of the names that came up, but Poch wanted above that at the time. Tielemans was young. I think he was still at Monaco. I think they were about to get relegated as well at the time. They were that, and he wasn't the Tielemans that we know of today. But at the same time, Poch was like, no, I don't want these run-of-the-mill players anymore. I want Champions League level players. And Tottenham just weren't able to offer that. And we ended up with like people like Davis and Sanchez and people like that just weren't ever going to make the cut at Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, so did Poch sort of shoot himself in the foot a little bit in that? Because
he probably did a little bit. I think Poch can be blamed for that as well, but Daniel as well can be blamed for allowing. I know he allowed his manager to dictate, but at the same time, everyone in the club should have gone, actually, what are we doing at this? I know, and the worst thing is we were in after that first season that we didn't sign anyone, we were bloody in the league race, weren't we, up until we played Everton, and then it all fell off. But again, we just allowed this cycle, and the cycle's just carried on.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about him next. Is Poch the answer?
It's always that famous saying, is it? Don't go back to your ex. And then
Indeed.
People go, but what about Jose Mourinho? He went back. What about this manager? He went back and done well. Harry Redknapp went back to Portsmouth and won an FA Cup. And you're like, oh, crap. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, but are they exceptions more than the rule when that happens? That's what the thing is, isn't it? Because sometimes you do get an exception to the rule, and if only happens like that's a real small sample considering how many managers there've been and probably managers that have gone back in percentage wise.
So I look at it and I go, it depends on whether that person is the furniture of the club. Now, Darren Ferguson is a prime example of someone who was he's been sacked so many times from Peterborough, but he's always gone back, and then he's always done a good job for them. It's like he needs time away, then they're getting some sort of crap, and then he comes in, gets the philosophy of the club back, and then when he needs to take them to that next level, he messes up again. Look, when we're recording this, I haven't listened to Poch's podcast that he done with Jake Humphries yet. So, and I've been getting snap bites out of that. But from what I'm hearing is he's very much Tottenham. For me, the Chelsea thing, at the time, we're not coming in for him, so let him go to Chelsea. It's not about the only team that I really think he could never go to and never be able to live it up for me would have been Arsenal. Yeah, if he goes to West Ham or Chelsea, for me, yeah, there are rivals, but they're rivals on a different scale. Like they're rivals for different reasons. And actually, both of us, between Chelsea, Spurs, West Ham, we've had players move between us, especially like when we're signing the player of West Ham this summer. So there's been so many players that have played for both clubs, and we've had their managers too. So for me, it's kind of sweep that one underneath the carpet a little bit. But is he what we need right now? I don't know. There are a couple managers that if they become available in the summer, I'd probably prefer. Nagelsmann being one of them. I think he'd be the perfect appointment for the board because they don't know what they're doing. And he's got the football he wants to play, and he's worked at Leipzig. Was it Leipzig? It was Leipzig, one thing that he was at before, where they tried to do the same model as us, and especially with Paul Mitchell was there as well. But it's a case of if Poch wants to come back and he wants to come back to this mess, let him be. But he's going to get more patience from us. But my problem is in 18 months' time, when it goes all wrong again, what's the answer?
Yeah.
Because Poch was the answer for then. What's Poch going to be the answer for in 18 months when it all goes? But if he gets the players he wants, he's somehow got to make them perform. And I've got to go for his time at Chelsea. And to be fair, his time in the US, I know he started off badly at the US, and his time at Chelsea started off quite rocky. But he did get him to a bit point where you go, actually, they did well. I think the only thing that's going against Poch is he's the last manager not to win a league title for Paris Saint-Germain under this ownership. Yeah. Where you kind of go, mate. I think John Barnes could have won the league there.
See, I could have probably won the league there, to be fair. See, for me, one of his comments has really got my back up. He said that Tottenham should be, that the Europa League win was all good, well and good, but actually we should be going for Champions League and leagues, right? And that those cups are basically a little bit insignificant in his eyes, right? That's the way he put it, in a way. Because if you hear him, what he said previously, he also said whilst at Tottenham that cups build egos. No, mate, cups build up people to go to a parade. People who want to go to a parade because you win. And winning, even at a cup, whatever, is important. And that gets my back up a bit because he wants to aim at a level that I don't believe that we are actually at. I think that he thinks that we're at that level, and we was once at that level with him, but I don't think we're at that level. And I think that he's going to come in thinking that that's the only thing that we should, like, that's our level. And I want to win cups, man. I want to win more. I don't care if it's another Europa League. I would rather win another Europa League than try and go into a final or a semi-final of a Champions League and not win it. Like, I just don't think that's important.
So
I think
and I do agree with what you're saying, because Jose Mourinho always said he's the most important trophy he ever won at Chelsea was the League Cup, because that set the platform for them players to go, we want more.
That's right.
And that's how they'd end up winning the league. I think Guardiola's first trophy might have been the League Cup as well.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. So, you have
and even
to build...
Klopp. I think Klopp won cups, didn't he? First of all.
The problem with Klopp was he went to so many finals before he lost. He lost so many when he came into Liverpool. You kind of forget where he started and where he finished. But even then, you look at it with Liverpool, and Slot. Everyone said like Slot came into a winning team and everything, and he did, because was it the year before that? Remember, Liverpool were in like 4 finals. They played literally every game they could have when they got to the Champions League final, finished second and whatnot. So they were a squad that were kind of already at that mentality, where now they just need a trophy to get over the line. But like, you look at it and go, no trophy like the Europa League trophy was a trophy worth winning because a lot of them players, you can clearly see, no matter the league might be crap, but how many of them went to perform in the Champions League this year because they went and went, actually, we're Europa League winners. We are winners in the Europe. And they've actually gone and performed on the biggest stage. The fact we finished 4th in the Champions League is absolutely madness considering how bad the league form is. But I've always said this, what you're finding out right now, especially in the last couple of years, is that the English teams and the Europeans, there's becoming a massive gap. You know, like there's a gap between the Premier League and the Championship.
Yeah.
I think Europe's becoming the same.
Yeah.
Because the way, if you look at last season's Champions League, it was only because of one team why the English teams went out. And that was Paris. Everyone else, because everyone else was on the other side of the draw, they didn't meet in England. They all managed to stay in, and Inter Milan ended up getting smashed in the final. But for Paris Saint-Germain, after they knocked out all the English sides, they knocked out the second best, the best team, and Manchester City. They knocked out all of them. So they played all of them and beat them at some point during that stage, and was that close to going out. And I just say, and then you look at the Europa League final last year, people want to say what they want to say about it, but Manchester United and Tottenham got to that final. The English clubs just took over, and then obviously Chelsea winning the Conference League. So it's a case of, we'll see how this season goes as well, because I think the Champions League or the UEFA will have a massive problem, like they did a few years back, and they had to try and change it where every year it was an English team getting to the final, semi-finals, and they didn't like it.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I just think that cups are important, and we come from a cup winning team like from the past, and we've always been that team. So is Poch the answer if that's something that he isn't going to consider? I don't want to go back to my ex anyway, because I'm not that kind of person. Like, I feel like once you're done, and as you're done for a reason, and those little niggly things are always going to come back.
The only thing I'd say about that is, with Poch, it wasn't down to us. It was kind of like you got offered, one of them reasons that actually you broke up because someone got between you and offered them done something, and they ended up having to go somewhere else, and that's the only reason. And you still kind of go, I was enjoying that relationship, but someone else just ruined it for us, kind of scenario. But that's the only thing that goes through my head. But at the same time, with the whole the cup the cup thing is a problem. But is it a problem? Because when Poch was here, we had to win a cup. Now we're not in that same situation. We don't have to win the cup right now. I know what you mean. I know, and I agree with you.
But I would like us to, because I think it's a good way to build, like you say, a mentality to grow as a team
Arsenal
that wins.
Going through the same problem at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. If they don't win anything, then like they're going to be like, hold on a minute, all this time, all this money you spent, no winnings. Like that, you can't just say we finished second every season. Like that ain't good enough. And it wasn't good enough for the first time when we had Poch. We should have won. We should be winning something. And that's because he never took cups particularly seriously. And I think that didn't really help. I think if you would win a cup, maybe early on, if we would have won a cup with Poch, maybe that when we were getting to different stages in like bigger finals and stuff, we would have been more prepared, because we would have had that thing where we know how to get it over the line.
His best chance of winning a cup, I'll always say, this was the year we got knocked out by Man United in the semi-final.
Semi-finals, yeah.
And it was a home fixture for us, pretty much. And we literally battered them 2 months ago at Wembley. Jose Mourinho was not great, but Jose schooled him.
Yeah.
Absolutely schooled him that day.
Because that's the thing, like Jose knows, and that's what I'm saying, like getting over that line is important. And I think that you've got to build that within a team. And you look at most teams, like you say, with City did it, Liverpool did it, like that's how you and Chelsea did it. That's how you begin that journey. And I think if he wants to skip a few steps, I don't think that works. And that to me has always been an issue with Pochettino. And one of the things that I always sort of hold against him, that I think that he didn't take it seriously. And if we continue not taking it seriously again, Marlon, soon enough it's going to be another 17 years, and we haven't won a trophy again. Like Joe that I was pregnant when we won that League Cup with my first son, and he's 18. He's obviously going to be 18 this year, man. Like it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Like That's a mad amount of time. And then obviously we saw the Europa League, and that was just amazing. That feeling, I still watch it because it still makes me, when I'm feeling sad about Tottenham, I watch that. That's my happy place. Because I know how I felt in that moment, being at that stadium at Tottenham with everybody else running onto the pitch, and that obviously the parade. Oh my God, it was amazing. Like,
once in a while, I do go back to the parade pictures I took that day, and just kind of like, this was a good day. I got fined that day because I remember picking my mum up from the airport, and I forgot to pay the charge to say that I stopped.
Yeah.
But because it was the day Spurs were doing the parade, and I'd literally jumped from pick her up, then jumped back to do the parade. It was kind of like, yeah. But you know, it's one of them moments because obviously, like you say, you had your son. I managed to get married, have kids, and do so much stuff in between that time before the last time I saw a trophy. And I remember, like, I was like that long. I don't think I was with my missus not that long before we went to that final. It was one of our first finals we went together. And that's it. We've not seen anything since, and we've managed to do so many things as a couple since that day.
So I had a baby with somebody, split up. I had another baby with somebody, split up with him, and then obviously then we saw the Tottenham. Then we see another cup. So I did a whole sort of lifetime of stuff before I saw another cup. You know, I had 2 children in that time, and actually, funny enough, we could have won the 2009, and that would have been the year my second son was born, but we lost it on penalties to Man United. So I would have had.
It's weird. I watched that final. It came on TV, and I thought I'd watch it. We were so unlucky.
We were unlucky. And Joe, what's crazy? That's mad. I would have had babies both years. We would have won something.
That would have been immense.
And we won in 82, the year I was born as well. So it would have been, all 3 of us would have been winners, had winning years. But unfortunately, we were really unlucky in that thing. And would people have been feeling the same if we would have won that year as well? If we won 2 cups in 2 years? Like, it's a really funny thing because we were so close to it, and all but 4 penalties, we didn't win it. You know, like it's funny how it can change the trajectory, I suppose, possibly.
No, definitely, because I always forget that, was it Ben Foster got man of the match that game? And it's a bit like the Champions League final because I always forget that Alisson got the man of the match. I don't watch that game. Yeah. I've not ever watched that game since. Obviously, I've seen images of the handball, but I've never watched that game since because it was just such a calm down.
Yeah, it was horrible. And because it was so soon into the game as well, it just killed it. I went to the stadium to watch it again for that final, and that was just, I
think I'd got off holiday a couple of days before. I was knackered anyway. I think it was my anniversary as well, and it was just like, the whole thing.
Yeah, man. That was just, Yeah, we don't talk about that final. Like that kind of like we say it happened, but we don't really acknowledge what actually happened. We're just like, no. We got there, but we don't talk about it.
That was Daniel Levy's biggest achievement to him.
Well, Joe, do you know, saying that, I've actually had arguments with other Tottenham fans saying that was a bigger achievement than the Europa League win. So some people believe that too. They believe that's a bigger achievement than to get to win it. But me, winning is winning.
No, to get to a cup final, is all great, but anyone can get to a cup final. Like Monaco and Porto played out a Champions League final once.
Yeah.
So what happened?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So and Arsenal played in the Champions League final, and their European pedigree is down the toilet.
Yeah, but saying that the last time they actually played in a final was actually before my son was born, so he's not ever seen Arsenal in a Champions League final.
So there you go.
18 years. I always remind them of that when they say stuff. Yeah, I've got little nuggets of things that I can say that they don't like, innit, about Europe. I say, my son ain't never seen you, and he's 18 this year in a final of Champions League. So he's seen us, he's seen my club, he's seen that, but he ain't seen yours, mate. And anything you've got to have to dig them out. Yeah, you've got to just have it stored there, just to bring it out when they start boasting about stuff, getting too big for their boots in it. So,
and do you know what? I know in the real world it won't happen, but it'd be so funny if they finished runners up in the League Cup, runners up in the FA Cup, runners up in the league, and then got to the Champions League final and finished runners up again. It would be. But I know football don't work like that, especially for us Spurs fans.
No, it ain't going to work like that, innit? So we'll talk about the next subject of saying that. Do you think they're going to win it and we're going to get relegated?
No, we won't. I don't think football's that cruel. I don't think.
Really?
I think. Yeah. Well, if they were to win and we got relegated, it'd actually do us a favour. We wouldn't have to hear from them for a whole year, but win about how we won the league. By the time we come back up, they won't be champions anymore.
I mean, that's a very interesting view to have, but we're still going to have Arsenal fans around us that are going to say you've been relegated.
I know we say we can't talk to you anymore. We're not in the same league as you. We can't. So we've got excuses to talk to them. Like, no, we don't talk about football with you anymore. We're not Premier League. The problem that I've got, well, the issue that I had, I think Crystal Palace kind of really got me, was the reason why I started to think, oh my God, this might seriously happen. I said weeks ago, I believe West Ham will get out of it. I think Nuno has signed a couple players that really changed their mentality. They seem to be playing well, and they were very unlucky against Chelsea. I know they've got United coming up, so that could be a bit of a change, but they're looking like now they're seeing positive steps. They're picking up points, and that's the difference now. Nottingham Forest is doing us a bit of a favour because I thought they were going to change under Sean Dyche, but that seems to be. But again, when it comes to that crunch time towards the end of the season, I think Sean Dyche has been there before.
He knows,
and he knows how to get out of it. So, for me, we have to win 3 games to really get out of it. But the problem that I've got with the 3 games that I'm saying we have to win are all at home. Leeds, because they're in it with us. Forest, who are in it with us. And Palace. We have to win those 3 games. And if we don't win those, I think we've got Brighton as well. So Brighton could get dragged into this. But I don't think they will, because I think they've just got enough points to warrant that West Ham, well, might catch them, but it would be like everyone would have to win around them. And the thing that they've got at the moment is that Leeds are not really winning. Now, I know they won, they beat Forest, but Leeds are kind of up and down at the moment. Forest just seem to be on a hiding to nothing. So we need to win those 3 games. Win those 3 games, we'll be all right. But can I see us winning those 3 games is a separate question.
That's the question. Yeah, that's a completely different question. Can we win them? We can win them. Will we win them? Who knows?
It wouldn't surprise me if a certain James Maddison ends up coming back earlier than he's supposed to and saving us.
Yeah.
Because Kulusevski's done. Kulu's done.
Yeah, it's his knee, innit? He shattered his knee, man. What a horrible thing to get.
Because apparently it's because of the injury that he had, he weren't able to strengthen the knee or something because of whatever he'd done, and then the knee shattered when he tried to get back on the grass, and it's just like, oh mate. But look, put it this way. I'm not going to say we're too big to go down. Do we have enough quality not to go down? Yes. Are we in a relegation battle? Yes, we are. No matter how we want to put it, we are in a relegation battle now because the results just keep changing. But do I see us getting relegated? I want to say no. I really do want to say no, but it's one of them. But I can't until I know we are mathematically safe from not going down.
Yeah. See, I think that we should have enough quality not to get relegated. But does that mean we're not going to get relegated? I guess not, no, because nobody, like at the moment, we're just not safe because we don't know what's going to happen around us. If points are picked up and we're not picking up those points, it could be dangerous. Like, it could be like squeaky bum time, innit? Like,
because West Ham need 3 more wins than us and Nottingham Forest need 2 more wins than us because their goal difference is so crap. So it's kind of, that's how we've got to look at it. If we can win those 3 games, then basically West Ham have to win 6 and Forest have to win 5, I think, just to go above us. Do I think they've got 5 wins and 6 wins in them? Plus, if we beat Forest, then Forest have to win 5 anyway, automatically, or 6. They have to win 6 themselves. So, do I see them having 6 wins in them from now towards the end of the season? West Ham, maybe. Forest, not so much.
But have we got wins in us?
This is the problem.
That's the real question, isn't it? Like,
and Leeds, and Leeds is another. Leeds again. I don't see them having enough. Palace, yes. Palace, I can see us matching us, especially now they're above us. But yeah, I think it will be Leeds that go down.
Yeah, and Wolves.
Wolves are gone. Wolves and Burnley have gone. They've got Burnley have shown no signs of changing that around. The fact they got beat by West Ham at the weekend
just tells you everything. Yeah, man. Well, we're going to leave it on that positive note.
Hey, we might win the Champions League.
Can you imagine we get relegated whilst winning the Champions League?
That would be. How would you sell that to a player? Like, it's got to come in and go, all right, we've got to go Millwall during the season. However, we're going Barcelona the week after.
You're going to come up against some of the biggest, best players in Europe, and you're going to go and play Millwall, and you better have some protection if you're going to go Millwall, because they're a funky lot at Millwall for sure.
So just how would you sell? How would you just end up selling that? But
I don't even know. You'd need somebody who's like one of the best. We need to employ one of the best salesmen there is in the country to be able to do that. I think someone who's like a real good talker.
I wouldn't be surprised. Say we did get relegated, if UEFA changed the rules to say you have to be in the top flight to compete in the Champions League, even if you.
Listen, we always get the rules changed on us. Listen, when we should have been in the Champions League the first time round, and we got kicked out because them bloody stupid scummy lot Chelsea, and like we always have it in it. It's always the rules change when it's us.
Yeah.
So
to be fair, I blamed Harry Redknapp that year. Because we should have finished third. We should never have finished.
I know.
Been in that situation.
But leave Harry alone, man. I love Harry Redknapp, man.
Yeah, I do love him too. But
he's probably my favourite manager.
Yeah, he probably is mine when it comes to results and personality. And then Martin Jol, I always say, set the foundations for Enoch.
Yeah.
It was always Jol, and that's why I liked him. He was never a great manager in the end when I think about it, but he was just what we needed at that time.
Yeah, and I like Jol and Redknapp, and like I say, I think seeing my team in the Champions League, man, like it was wicked, man. I actually got to watch us on telly. Like it used to be on TV, and I never used to have that. I used to have to watch Man United because I like David Beckham, so I used to watch David all the time. My brother always used to accuse me of supporting Man United because I watched him so much. Like I could tell you all about those years from Man United because I watched David.
The only reason why I always say to people, the only reason why I liked Man United is because they always stopped Arsenal from winning the league.
Yeah, oh God, yeah. Like the thing is, the enemy of our enemy is our friend, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's all good. We've always all right with Man United because they're the enemy of the enemy. So when they beat them the other day, I cheered like it was Tottenham, innit?
I just cheer anyone who beats Arsenal. I'm one of those. I'd probably have seasons in the away end at Emirates if I could.
Just to cheer to make sure they lose, man. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm an absolute same. I absolutely hate them. So even when City won last night against Liverpool, I was well happy. And the boys like, is that Tottenham playing? I'm like, no boys. It's I'm happy because I want City to beat Arsenal. If Arsenal win the league this year, oh my God, man, I don't think I could hack it. I know they've won it before, but I don't know, man. Like
I said this before with social media. When Arsenal won it before, it weren't as bad. It was we knew our friends and stuff, and that was it. Now it's going to be shoved down our throat.
Yeah, and also I think because they've not won it for so long, they've not won anything. They've been the butt of the joke, especially when we won the Europa. They could not handle that we won that trophy before they've won in a while. So
and as they keep using the Europa League trophy, that's the worst Champions League Europa League thing that there's ever been. I'm like, well, you're promoting that you finished top of the Champions League group this year, and half the teams that were in the Europa League with us last year were in it this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, Bordeaux beat City for goodness sake. So and we beat them in the Europa, so they can shush. Don't worry about it. I've got it. Like I said, I'll pull it all out of my pocket. My youngest is on the bus with someone who supports Arsenal, and they try it with him. And I said to him, "Don't have any of it, man." And then when they come the other day, I told them what for, and I made sure they knew their place.
Mate.
I'm always like that with Tottenham. I defend us fiercely, even if I don't believe in us myself. It's like your kid, innit? You know your kid is your kid, and you love them. But when they do wrong, you'll tell them. But you don't want no one else telling them they're this and that. You're like, nah, that's my kid. That's my job. You don't tell me. Yeah, I know how crap we are. I don't want you and your dirty Arsenal mouth telling me.
Yeah.
I don't need that, yeah? So you can shush. So I'll just tell them, innit?
Yeah.
I'll defend us to the hill, even when we are crap. I'm Tottenham through and through, innit? I can't help it.
We all are. That's why we're all here.
That's it, exactly. So tell everyone, if they don't already know, where to find you, Marlon.
Mate, it's me and Ash on Spurs Kings TV. Obviously, I feature on other channels as well. But please make sure you're liking and subscribing to Mia as well. But yeah, no, me and Ash do Spurs Kings TV. We're hoping to do more next season because I think life's taken over this year. But we're Monday nights is always ours. And then Ash does his show on a Wednesday. If you're not a Spurs fan, it's quite a good show that him and I call it his mates, but they are quite funny when they're all together.
Yeah, they are actually really funny. It's a really good watch because the chemistry between them is really good. It's not just rivals and being like bitter about it. Like it's like a good laugh, like a bit of banter in it. Like you would done if you're out with your mates in it and they support different clubs. It's like that vibe.
And we've had so many faces change on it, but yet we still have the same banter. The banter still carries on, and I think that's what's key to it is that even when the faces change, it's still the same, and that's what's really good. But on a Monday, we swapped from Tuesday to Monday, and it seems to be successful at the moment. It seems to be doing us the world of good. As we say, we had to change it because of life gets in the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ash is still doing his analysis when he can, and he's not. But this is how long me and Ash have been working together. Whenever he does his analysis now, he preempts my questions.
He knows you too well, innit?
Knows me way too well, and he knows where I'm going to pick a flaw out and be like, "Well, about this." He actually preempts it and goes, "I know you're going to say it," and he was like, "This is for you." I'm like, okay, and then I just sit back in my chair.
Yeah, he's very detailed with his analysis. I must say, like he is quite in like the very details of stuff.
Yeah, but he's so good. He is so good, and but I like to keep him on his toes. And
of course.
That's key because like everyone else knows how good he is, but I know what he can do.
Yeah, so. No, that's it. You've got to push him in it, otherwise he don't get better. Yeah, you've got to push him to be better in it. That's what it's all about. Yeah. I will be on Spurs Kings tonight if you're watching it on the Monday. And if you haven't watched it, make sure you do watch it on catch up and give the boys a like and a subscribe because they do a really good job over there. It's such a good vibe. Like I like watching stuff that's got a good vibe. Sometimes like you just don't want all the shouting and the arguing, like you want a bit more of a vibe, and that's definitely what you get over at Spurs Kings TV, man. I like that vibe.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. And I will definitely be inviting you back again. I'm doing a rotation of different people to try and get different people's opinions on because I think it's really important, like I said, to listen to other people's opinions. And even if they're different to you, it's good to understand and try and learn because then you might actually change a little bit what you think because you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. No, like what you said about the comments and stuff. I never thought of that. So that's something now I'm going to consider. See, you've taught me something, Marlon. What can I say?
We all teach each other everything. This is the thing. And especially in this community, listen, even if when you don't agree with it, I'm not one of them. Like, there's half the people I don't agree with, but the first thing I'm not going to think of is, I need to slag them off and say, you're wrong. I listen to what they say and see what they've come out with and see if it makes sense. And if it makes sense to me, I go, okay, I can see where they're coming from. And most people do make sense to me, but it's just a case of whether I really feel against it or not. But
that's right. Exactly that. Well, thank you to everybody for joining us. Take very good care of yourselves and we'll speak again real soon.